Hey John, I need a way to like send audio to Zoom but not to YouTube. You're on mute. I will wave. Hey. We desperately need some intro music for this countdown. I have a thing, but I'm still a bit scared to run it at the same time as the beta. That won't make it through to the, well, I suppose I could pipe that through to the stream actually, but yeah, maybe not. Let's put a starting soon exclamation mark. So exciting. Do I have anyone on the live stream yet? No. Oh, God. Hello and welcome to Squares TV Application Lab number 26, where we talk about Shoot, we talk about Beat Sheet, we talk about Video Pencil. I am broadcasting this camera, this feed to YouTube, which you can find, I should have probably pasted it into, I'll paste that in Discord now actually, under General, okay, and I'm going to be keeping the Zoom window private, but there are people on a Zoom call as well through office hours. Let me know if there's anything you want to cover, but I'll give you, what my plans are. Sorry, yeah. I am running everything through BeatSheet Studio Beta, and I'm on a relatively new mobile rig in a strange, unusual, I'm on this thing. I'm in a very big, echoey room. And it's a relatively new rig, but I think this week's going to go better than last week. I think I've sort of solved a lot of the problems that were weird last week. So also, can you let me know if my eye contact seems okay? Because I'm using Shoot as my teleprompter, and I've got my stuff down there. So I'm hoping while I'm reading, it sort of looks like I'm pretty much talking to the camera, but I can't really tell without sort of looking away from that spot. I suppose I could have recorded it and checked that, but anyway. So today, I was going to talk about my travel rig, so I thought let's do a fun one. I've got a nice handy little case. I'll show you the kind of minimal setup that I'm working with in this Airbnb. I'll talk about keyboard triggers and Beat Sheet that I just added this week in response to a question about switching Chrome profiles and Stream Decks, and I just thought I think originally Beat Sheets had keyboard triggers to just work. So I had that stuff in there. So I just sort of refined the UX of that and made that work nicely. And then finally, I've been working on this music project, which I've wanted to share for a while, but I sort of needed Beatsheet Studio's audio stuff to be a bit more stable in order to show you it, and also the performance of Beatsheet. I've sort of made some strides on, like, it's not taking up the whole CPU, because this other thing takes quite a lot of my computer as well, so I sort of wanted to show you that. But it's just this thing I work on sort of every other Tuesday in my spare time. I sort of make some space to try and do something artistic. So yeah, but here's a bit of face follow fun. Last week I noticed when I was using, so I'm on this thing, like, Shoot is keeping my face in the middle of the camera in this sort of gentle way. But I noticed that whenever I had some slides on the left or right, that they'd sort of collide with my face, and there was no way to get out of the way because it was being kept in the center. But one of the beautiful things about Shoot and Beatsheet being so closely tethered now is Shoot can know what Beatsheet is showing. So Beatsheet can say, hey, move out of the way, like, of the titles that I'm showing. So now if I go next, and we've got some titles on this side, on the left side, you see it's keeping me off to the, I should probably give it a little bit more to play with. So you see it's, when I've got titles on this side, then it's moving me over to the other side, and then when I'm on the right, it's going to just move me over onto the right side, so that I'm never kind of colliding with those titles, and then when we come back to the middle, we're back in the center. It does a little transition to bring you there. So that was just something I wanted to make face follow a bit more practical when showing slides. And also, like, something that I am doing today, well, there's a couple of other things that I will just mention that I added since last week, which I don't know, they're on the like the Video Pencil beta and stuff, but I am now sending the program feed up to Shoot, so I can see what is going out on the live feed on my phone, along with my teleprompter, and that's also being used as a camera at the same time. So I'm quite enjoying that. So I can use it for Zoom calls by just sharing the Zoom window into my phone, or I can just send the virtual camera feed into the phone, and now I can sort of see what's going on. So when I've got very limited screen space, which I have on, I've got a 14-inch MacBook Pro and my phone and an iPad, and actually, like, it sort of almost feels like enough now. Like, I don't feel like I need another display, even though I did bring my Wacom One, which I could have, like, plugged in as an external display, but I kind of wanted to see how minimal I could get this set up. And then the other things I've done on Video Pencil now, it's got the navigation controls, so I'm hitting next on the iPad. So I haven't got the Stream Deck out. I'm just using the iPad to navigate my slide. I'll be honest, like, I keep having to glance down to find the buttons, so I don't know how sort of, like, it's certainly not as good as the foot pedal, not quite as good as a hardware Stream Deck, but, like, it's a nice way of not having to keep alt-tabbing back to the Beatsheet Studio window on the Mac all the time when you don't have a Stream Deck plugged in. And it's also helping me reconcile the user interface for Beatsheet Studio. So something I'm adding is, so Beatsheet Studio has the camera preview like this. So I'm just, well, and I know John had an issue, like, without a Stream Deck, it might, some things I take for granted because I have them set up on the Stream Deck that I haven't really factored into the user interface. I realized I could make opinionated decisions about. So, you've got Beatsheet Studio, you've got your next button, you've got your cards, and then you've got your video preview. So what I've added is now, like, the most common buttons are available up here. So the like share desktop, and it just, like, you just kind of tell it which is the desktop you usually share. So there's a toggle desktop share. There's a side 3D toggle that sort of does that. There's a clear what's currently showing, because before and there's still a couple of icons on here, but they're more sort of pertinent to the location now. So I've decluttered this bit down here, and I've actually made these buttons a bit more, like, lickable, clickable, so you can actually, because they're ones that you're probably going to want to get to quite quickly. So they're sort of like, if this is the if this is the primary interaction here, then this is probably going to be the secondary interaction as you go through. So you're going next, but you might want to be, I'll just go to the desktop. I just want to kind of come out the desktop, so you'll tap that again. And that will sort of, like, feed through into how the Stream Deck looks as well. So there's a couple of changes coming up in Beatsheet Studio. I've made a lot of progress on that, but it's still quite a lot to get through. I did spend some time today kind of consolidating. I'm finally on 30 frames a second, so it means my CPU, like, I actually, well, I was saving out the timestamps into a text, like a CSV, and then charting them to try and spot what was going on, and that made it a lot easier to sort of diagnose the unevenness. I could have a graph of how regular the frames are, and that made it a lot easier to debug. So sometimes I just need time to kind of like think about what I actually need to look at to solve the problem. So this turned out to be quite effective because I was able to just spawn up a Google Sheet, say what was going on, put a screenshot of the code that's relevant, and put a little chart in just sort of showing the things. So we're making some progress on there. And I've also got some technical help hopefully coming in soon as well. And thank you so much to John Deering for all of your tireless beta testing. It's like I'm very confident that once I get through everything that's in my inbox, that we will have a nice, stable, usable app. I just sort of need to get through a little bit of the burnout of launch to really kind of like chew through those properly. But yeah, and if anyone is on the Beat Sheet Studio beta, I'm moving the bug reporting over to GitHub, which I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. There was just too many other things to think about. But the nice thing about putting them on GitHub is you can reference issues from a commit, so I can say, okay, this code was supposed to fix this, and now I can have 2 people working on it, which wasn't really possible before. It was a lot of work to get the project so that it could be built by someone else, but I've figured out most of that. It's building on someone else's machine. All the different projects are building on someone else's machine now. This is scalability beginning. So anyway, that was a long ramble. Let's talk about the travel rig. I don't see anyone. We're live. Oh, we've got people. We've got a like. I don't see any chats coming through. I just wanted to make sure that I would hear that because there's a chance I might not. Yeah. Right, let me just make sure I'm going to hear stuff coming through from Ecamm if someone does leave a comment. Is there a window? Yeah, so I haven't seen any comments yet. All right, let's go to... oh, someone just said something. Hey, Josh. Right, the travel rig. This is what my setup looks like today, more or less. I'm sort of like... so up here is shoot on a little sort of selfie stick thing. My laptop, and then the iPad. Oh yeah, the iPad is over here. So if we go to the next one, this should something's not on the main thread. So this is the iPad is here. I've got the laptop here, and then I've got this sort of little wireless microphone. So I've got this lav mic going on here, which I think sounds better than the built-in laptop mic. I don't know if actually like using the phone's built-in mic would end up being better with all the directional clever stuff Apple's doing. But I'm still a believer in not having the, I don't know. I feel like audio, you can't fake it. It just sort of needs to be right as possible. But we are relying on Apple's voice isolation in this very echoey room. So I'll show you what is, so I've got, did I take a picture of that? I've got, well, if I drag this on, so this is like my main bag. Is this going to appear? Ooh, it did. Let me just make that full screen. So this is my main bag. So this is like, I love this bag. I got it in, it was sort of more expensive than I wanted it to be, but this is sort of the maximum size that you can fit on a flight. And it's just so big, like you can do all your shopping and fit like toilet paper in there as well. It's really like changed my life. I ride my bike a lot, so that's my main bag. So in that there's like my laptop. My laptop only takes up about that much space in it, to be honest. And then the iPad, and then I've got this other bag that I've been going around with as well, which is here. So let's try and get this video going. So this little bag, I've seen some of these videos on YouTube where people have these neat little bags. And then I was in the studio and I was like, oh, why don't I use this one that came with my LED light? So I've got this little LED light thing, the light panel that came with this bag. You always get these, don't you? Like you get the glide gear or all these things come with these little bags, and I don't know if you ever really use them that way if you've got like a proper flight case. But I've realized I've got all these miscellaneous handy little bags, so I decided to use this one. So I've got the laptop and the iPad, and then this is the other bag. Like this is the only other thing I've got. So what's in here? Let's have a look. So you're going to hear like a bit of audio for the first couple of seconds because of a bug in the way BeatSheet Studio does audio at the moment, but I quite like that you get a little bit of audio. So in one compartment we've got, let's see, I've got my, I really like this USB-C. So the MacBook Pro M1 has 3 USB-C ports. It's got an HDMI, it's got a charging, it's got a headphone out. So basically I'm sort of limited to 3 USB ports. So I've got this, I really like having this kind of compact little USB-C cable, and that is used for a couple of different things depending on what I'm doing. I have got, what's this? Some headphones. And these are actually like an Alex Lindsay recommendation. They're the ones I've got in my ears here. I kind of don't like them. They're okay with my glasses because my glasses like sort of hold them in. They've got like a round the ear thing. But there's no reason I shouldn't be having wireless in-ear headphones for this, because I feel so constrained when I'm on this cable. But I've got some Sennheiser ones, but they're a bit sort of big and bulky. I don't really like the look of like AirPods. Like I don't want to be like always on AirPods when I'm live. So I bought these sort of really tiny ones that go in ear from Amazon for like 20, 30 quid or something, but they were just so unreliable. And now it's sort of like there's a million different options for in-ear wireless headphones, but I sort of need to buy 10 and test them all and send back 9, I think, because I do not know how to find some that are going to actually be like reliable enough. I don't need them to even have a microphone in them. And they've all got the world's worst microphone built into them. Like, so I've got wired headphones just for sort of like peace of mind. And then we've got, what's next? I've got a couple of USB-C to lightning cables. And I like to be sort of direct into USB-C where possible. I have got, what's this? I've got like a MagSafe, you know, the mount that goes on the back of the iPhone, on the back of the laptop, you know, the continuity camera mount. It's honestly like it's for charging, so I'll mount that. The way I'll mount that is, how can I describe this? Is I will wedge it into the selfie stick jaws so that I can magnetize my phone onto it, but facing me. I don't really want the back camera because then I can't get like my teleprompter and all that kind of thing on the screen. So but it's really handy when your phone is just on a magnetic thing and it's charging while it's on there. And so I would probably usually be using it and just have it powered, you know, plugged into the laptop. But one problem I have in this particular Airbnb is just the Wi-Fi is not, my devices aren't seeing each other properly on the Wi-Fi. So I have to have the iPad and the iPhone over USB for BeatSheet Studio to work. So that's sort of like clogging up all my ports in a way that, like, even if I just use my phone's network, I wouldn't need all these cables, but I sort of don't want to do all these streams over my mobile data because I think it's not unlimited. But yeah, I just heard a question. There's larger versions too. Josh, of what? What was I talking about when you said that? There's larger versions too. So next up, I'll just wait for a reply to that. The next, I've got a little backup drive, like a 2 terabyte SSD. I mean, this laptop is 2 terabytes, so it's sort of minimum. Oh, I hear the thing. Up one. Up one. I'm feeling mystified by some comments in chat. Headphones, what are we talking about? Anyway. Anyway, I've got this backup drive, nice and small. So what I'd do is I sort of try and like just plug that in to back up with Time Machine regularly, and then just if I'm going out with my laptop, I'll leave that in the Airbnb or whatever, just try and sort of get away from it as much as possible. So if my bag gets stolen, I've still got my backups. And that's like sort of always in the back of my mind. So I do carry that when I'm away. I don't really believe in like the online backup systems. They're just never fast or reliable enough. Like it just always seems to take too long, and it's a little bit like, am I actually going to be able to get back into my data, like if it comes back? But anyway, so we've got the backups, and then I've got a second iPhone. It's it's got loads of tape on the back because I kind of dropped it. But that's like my second camera, which is actually plugged in. So I can show you what we're actually running. And then in the other compartment, what do we have? Shall we speed this up a little bit? So in here, I've got, this is the selfie stick. So I really like this. Like, this is probably my favorite sort of iPhone stand. Well, it's a bit aggressive the way it grips, but like, I really like this thing. It's really sort of, it's a nice weight. However you put the legs, it stands up, which isn't always the case for tripods. And so I find that really useful. And then I've got my Stream Deck Mini, which I'm just not even got plugged in. And then I've got these two lights, which I'm not actually using today. I should probably put one on me to the side, but I think I should have probably bought a long USB charging cable so I could just leave it running, because I don't like leaving battery-powered stuff going. And then finally, we've got this little bag. This came with the Rode Wireless Go. So we've got this little bag. It's got the two transmitters, and then it's got the sort of thing. And I've got a couple of charging cables in there too. And so that's the microphone I'm using. Usually, in the old days, I would have brought my like my big USB microphone, but I thought, well, I think I can get away with this. I think this is going to sound just as good. And then finally, I did bring this dongle, but I have been really reluctant to use it. I hate it. I hate these damn dongles, but it is actually in use today because I did want to be able to show you a second camera. So, what else? So then I think that's everything. Let's just put all that away. Should play some music while I do this. And there. Oh, look, you know what I could do? I could actually like double the speed, like play at double speed. Press play. There we go. We can actually do that inside BeatSheet. So here's me just putting all that stuff away. So you see, it's a nice compact setup for when you're on the move. And it's just a bag I happen to have, so you know, I'm happy with my little bag. It feels quite nice even moving from room to room. So I'll show you. Yeah. So I'll just show you like what's going on in a bit more detail. So here's my second camera. So the stand is, I've got the iPhone like this. It's just sort of on a stand behind my laptop. It's up at sort of eye level so that I can stand up while I'm presenting, because I think it's just better if you can be standing up. So that's on there, and you'll see here, so you've got the teleprompter is there. So the teleprompter is there, and this is the program feed. So you see you can see the text that's being shown. Am I actually pointing at that? What can I see? Yeah, you see the text is actually coming through. So I've actually got my program feed coming through, and that's just a little feature I added for myself. You see I'm in this Airbnb. Someone's got like a piano and there's like a bike there, and you see it's a big echoey Scottish room. And then the laptop has BeatSheet Studio. I've got my Ecamm program, I've got my Zoom window, and then I've got my iPad, and the iPad has, it says stand still, it's just, not, yeah. So you see on the iPad, I've got some little next, clear, aside, so I can toggle the aside from the iPad now, and I can go to the next slide. So now, I was going to talk about lighting. I did a session with Rob Rusher yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. And he suggested just, like it's useful having the lights. So maybe we can sort of, I'll just improve my lighting. Quite cool thing is there's a music stand here, which and the light is magnetic. So let's see if this is, I don't know, is this any better? Is this a bit intense now? It's almost like put it sort of behind me a little bit. Yeah, no, I think we were all right with the natural sort of grey skies today. Audio, so you have to run the mysterious, I've got the Wireless Go plugged into the Mac, and then that is you've got Rode Connect running. That's running into BeatSheet so that I can just see my levels and sort of send through other stuff with it. BeatSheet Studio, beta. And then, for the webcam, I'm using Shoot as my webcam. I've got Face Follow switched on. I haven't actually really adjusted it, which I should probably do, but I'm always like making changes to the code right up to the last minute. Actually, I'm like, if you do notice it doesn't seem too jittery, which is quite good news, because I pulled it down to 30 frames a second. I figured out how to do it, because before, when it was at a lower frame rate, the jitters really showed, so I was doing something wrong, but I think I might have figured that out. So it's been looking quite good today, I think. And that's much less CPU. And then the iPad, as I showed you that, it's got the teleprompter on it. It's got the buttons on it. You can change the size of the text on it. It's got some little controls on there. So that is my mobile rig. So shall we talk about, did I ever get to the bottom of up one? There's larger versions of something. Let's talk about beat sheet keyboard triggers. How do I make sure that I don't go right off the edge when it sort of pans me over? Maybe I should have that a little bit less extreme. Or maybe I've put the wrong number in, because I do seem to be quite far over, don't I, from the thing. Beat sheet keyboard triggers. Let me show you how we would add a trigger. So I'm going to pull up beat sheet and I'm going to share. Right, so here is my desktop. This is the program window for Ecamm, but we're going to leave that there. So now, in beat sheet, and this is in Beat Sheet Studio as well, obviously, but it's also in Beat Sheet. If we go to this panel here, well, let's make a new card. So if we go to this panel, we can now add a keystroke trigger. And if I click on that, it's going to give me, first we've got to select the app. So what app do you want to run the keystroke on? Let's tell it. So let's, I don't know, I should have probably thought about what app to do this with, but shall we just send it back to beat sheet? So let's have a recursive thing. And then you click on this box and press the key. So if I go Command Enter, oh, I didn't actually ever check if Command Enter would work. Let's try Command. No, I don't think we should send anything to beat sheet. I think we should go system settings. Right, we'll do a weird one. Oh, this is going to quit beat sheet if I'm not careful. I'm scared to do this. I'm a little bit scared. Let's. What can I send a thing to that's running? SF symbols. Let's see what SF symbols keyboard shortcuts it has. So we could go new. We could go. What's this? View. Let's say hide toolbar. View. Show to. So let's do command. Alt. Command. Alt. Option. Sorry, you can't see that. Let's do. So you can find the keyboard shortcut in the menu of the other app. So Option Command T, go into Beat Sheet Studio, select the app you want to send it to in the first drop down, and then just type in the keyboard shortcut into there. So I just clicked on there, typed it in. It's now, so it goes to SF symbols and it's going to send that message. So now, if I make them both visible, if I go, so it should hide the toolbar. So if I hit this play on here, it did something a bit crazy. This is some crazy tech demos. Did I select the right app? Okay. That's how you do it. I guess it still needs a bit of tech. I got a bit scared there. I got a bit gun shy on the live stream, because I was like, what if I send a keyboard shortcut and it cancels the stream completely? What are we saying on here? Right. So there's a double electronics organizer. Okay. So Josh shared a case in the YouTube comments if you want to go and find that. But I guess it doesn't come through into my Ecamm feed. Let's not dwell too much on that. The point is, and I should probably, I didn't actually do a run through of that test. before going live today, so that's always how that goes. And the point is, you can select the app, you can send the keyboard shortcut, you can send as many as you want, you can add them to as many cards as you want. So if you were to jump onto share your desktop, you could also say you had like, so something like Chrome, you can add profiles. So you can have like profile 1, profile 2, right, and then profile 2. Right, and then there'll actually be like a menu, like profiles. Whoops, let's do like profiles. There's a profiles menu in Chrome. And and then what you can do is you can go into System Preferences, Keyboard Shortcuts, and you can add a keyboard shortcut to Chrome through Mac OS Preferences. So you can make this be like 1, 2. Or whatever keyboard shortcut it's based on the name in the menu. So you can set up the different profiles. So if you had different users in different states, different logged into different accounts on some sort of software demo, you could just you could set up different profiles, add a keyboard shortcut to switch to the right profile, and then in BeatSheet, when you come to that part of the demo, you share your desktop. You can trigger your screen sharing Ecamm or OBS to go to the desktop, but then you can also send a keyboard shortcut that switches Chrome to the right profile, and then you're kind of ready to go in the right place. So I think that's going to be a really powerful way to do that sort of thing. That's the keyboard triggers in BeatSheet. I heard some questions maybe? Okay, no, I didn't. Do we have any comments, or shall I try and show some silly stuff now? I'm going to show you my little music demo. Let's jump into it. I didn't set up a scene, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to run it. So I've got to go into Godot. So there's a game engine called Godot, which I've been sort of learning as I go. But I just thought, like, I want to make this virtual environment. I don't like Unity, I don't like Unreal Engine. That's so heavy and everything takes so long to download. And like Godot is this this alternative which is much more code-based and much more lightweight. And I was like, that's more for me, but it also gives me a lot of the stuff that I would have ended up like coding by hand. Like you just use useful editors and 3D, all that kind of thing. So if I just like find the right scene and run it, I'm hoping to be able to, you'll be able to see. Right, so if I come back to BeatSheet, I add a screen share of, which one's it going to be? There's a thing where it doesn't update the screen shares, so I've just got to find that. So is it going to be this one? No, that's the editor. It's going to be this one. Okay, so this is, and can I get my picture in picture? Yes, I can. So this is my little world. Can you hear it, is the question. I don't know that you can. Oh yeah, I think you can actually. You should be able to hear it. So maybe I can turn it up a little bit. No, that looks about right. Let me know if you can't hear it, but there's a bird flying around. And we can sort of move through this world, find the campfire, and there's all these guys. And if I right click, they'll start playing, I think. So, and like it's all directional. I'm just going to keep like clicking. Oh, I can actually move things around as well. So I can sort of move these drums and then go. Take this thing. Yes, for Zoom, let me just make sure. Yeah. So I think the YouTube was getting it, but I think maybe you weren't getting it. You should be getting it now. Right, let me try and go. Right, the thing with this is like, it's very hit and miss, but then when you have a good moment, it's nice. But so here's a piano guy I made. He plays the piano. So this is in stupid thing in Blender. Someone sent me something they've seen. This bird is, you can't see, but the lip sync is perfect. So like all the sounds it's making, I did it in a special thing, and then I managed to get the data out. So like when its mouth opens and closes, it's actually like right, but now it's flying around so you can't even tell. And if I click, it'll do a different thing. So maybe we'll take this with us. And we'll go over and see these guys. And then this I did so that I could sort of like play them like little instruments. So the keyboard, I can go. And if I right click, I can sort of reset what's happening. And then I can like anyway, it's very much sort of like something I'm tinkering with every couple of weeks. So if we just sort of like keep triggering some random sort of music, we'll see if we can get it to sound good. We can add some like real piano as well. Okay, so that's that. It's just something I've been working on, really. And to be honest, it's like the last 20 years I've been working on variations of that silly thing. Just trying different approaches, but the out of sync, whatever. I mean, this is mildly. Yeah, like the sync could be at any layer. We can figure that out in future. But it's just something I've been tinkering with. It's kind of a bit of a coup that I was even able to show it through BeatSheet Studio and get the audio and get the stereo stuff. I know on Zoom you wouldn't have heard the stereo because it made me go into one channel, but hopefully on YouTube that was in stereo. Right, that's just the sort of thing that we've been doing. Right, listen, I am Michael at squares.tv. Have you got any questions about Shoot, Video Pencil, or BeatSheet? If you have, now is your last chance today. I am here to answer questions, to have conversations. If you're on Zoom, I can dial in your audio so the stream can hear it. If anyone has got any stuff, I will give you until I've had a sip of water, at which point I will probably sort of wind out, sign off. Righty-ho. That was Squares TV App Lab number 26. Oh, hold on. let me bring you in, John. Say again.
Just wanted to thank you for a great session today.
You're welcome, John. I always leave these very last minute, so I'm always surprised that they're not a complete disaster. Do you know, the biggest success today has been my fan isn't going, even though I've sort of used every feature of BeatSheet Studio today. So, but yeah, I'm glad that kind of went okay. But yes, thanks for saying so. I will turn you off again. I'll turn Zoom off again. Righty ho. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Feel free to find me on Discord, find me on email, see you, Joe, and I will, see everybody soon, either here or elsewhere.